As a college student, you will be asked to deliver presentations many times. So it's a great idea to learn the fundamentals of giving a presentation and learning some tips and tricks about PowerPoint and how you can create your slides using PowerPoint. So this is what this video is going to be about. I have created a presentation for you. I'm going to go over my presentation to show you some of the tips and tricks that I think are important in the process of preparing your presentation and slides. All right, let's go through this presentation. So the first slide is pretty basic, and I think all of you have a good idea of what your first slide should look like. I have a title that is descriptive, and also it's not very long. Presentation tips and tricks for students plus PowerPoint hacks. I have my name, my affiliation, and if you want to add a logo of your school, your college, you can also do that as well. Let's move on to the second slide over here. All right, I want to talk about planning the process of presentation. The first thing that you need to think about is how you want to outline your presentation, what you want to present. And this is before putting together your slide. You want to know what is the goal, what is the objective of your presentation, and how you want to achieve that objective. Next is to prepare your slides. And while you're preparing your slides, you need to have the audience in mind. Are you presenting for other students, or are you presenting for a student club, so on and so forth? And eventually, you need to practice and practice and practice to make sure that you are delivering presentation good as well. Remember that the presentation is about you and the topic that you want to deliver. The presentation is not about slides. Slides just there to help you to deliver your point and to convey your points. All right, now I'm going to start with the first topic, outline your presentation. In order to figure out what topics and what slides you need to include in your presentation, my recommendation is to take a look at the rubrics that your professor, your teacher has given to you. That rubric is essentially giving you a cheat sheet on how to be successful in that presentation. Take a look at the example that I have in this slide for you. This is actually a real rubric that I have given my student for a course, engineering design. I have told them that you need to put all these slides in your presentation, and I have estimated how many slides they might need for a specific topic. For example, a brief overview of each design explaining major features and pros and cons of the design. I have estimated that they probably need one slide per each design. All right, so this is important to have an outline of your presentation and how you want to move forward. This will give you an understanding of how many total slides you're going to end up having by the end of preparing your presentation. So start with this. Do not start with preparing your slides first. Once you have your outline ready, now it's time to design your slides and make sure that your slides are a good supplement to what you want to say in your speech. During this video, I'm going to talk about all these bullet points that I have included in this slide for you. I'm going to talk about some fundamentals, rules of building an engaging presentation. I'll be talking about best practices when it comes to PowerPoint presentation. I'll talk about presentation blunders and what to avoid. And I'll talk about some tips of how to make your presentation better and more engaging. Remember that these are just some tips that I have collected based on my experience and some online sources. There are many other good articles and videos that you can watch to improve your presentation skills. All right, so once you have your slides ready, once you have your design for your slides, now it's time to practice. I'm going to go back to designing your slides and give you some tips, but for now, let's talk about practicing. To be able to be comfortable and to professionally present your slides, you need to practice it and practice it and practice it many times. And you need to do that on your own and in front of others. So if you have a friend who is willing to sit down and listen to your presentation, do that and ask for feedback. The more feedback you get from your friends and family and everybody else, the more you can hone your presentation and the style of delivering your presentation as well. All right, so one tool that PowerPoint provides for you that you can rehearse and practice your presentation is right over here. So if you go under slideshow tab over here, there is something called Rehearse with Coach. So if you click on that, it will tell you that welcome to this one and gives you some basic information. I'm going to click got it. And then over here, you can start recording yourself. It will analyze your tone. It will analyze your eye movement using the webcam that you have on your computer and so many other things, your pace, the timing, so on and so forth. And at the end of it, when you stop presenting, it will give you a report of how you've been doing. So I am going to actually uncheck this to just get this report at the end of my presentation when I'm done. And then I'm going to select start rehearsing. So you will see that something like this is happening over here. And my webcam right now is following my eye contact with you, right? At the end, it will tell me how I've done with this presentation. All right, so let's go ahead to the next slide. The first thing that I want to talk about are some fundamentals that make your presentation better and better. One thing that is very important is that you should not depend on your slides. Your slides are there to complement what you want to say, to complement your speech. Your slides are not there to distract everybody who's listening to you from the main point that you are conveying in your speech, in your presentation. And the second point that I want to make over here is that the famous saying, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words. If you can include a related photo that is related to the topic that you are talking about, that would be great. Let's say that you are designing something and you have done some prototyping. Including some photos of the prototyping process that you have done can greatly improve the quality of your presentation because it's a visual that people can see and understand better and connect to your speech. Let me give you an example. Take a look at the left-hand side slides. It's about how we support your development. And there are many, many bullet points over here. And there is one photo over here as well. This slide could be a little bit distracting. Why? Because you immediately, as somebody who's listening to this presentation, you're going to read every single bullet point. And after 2 or 3 bullet points, you're going to be tired and just give up. And during reading the first 3 bullet points, you're going to forget about the speech, right? Because you want to read. Now, take a look at the right-hand side slide. It's the same thing, just reorganized. It's using less words, and also it's using some graphics that are related to the point that you are trying to make. So all these bullet points on the left-hand side slide are telling you that how we support your development. And all these bullet points in the shape of graphics over here are the same thing, but using less words. And it's more engaging because then you can highlight that keyword and then in your speech talk about those. So the attention is not divided. You're not distracting your audience. All right. So the other thing that I want to talk about is that your slide should be legible from anywhere in the room. If you are in a classroom that has 100 people in it, you want to make sure that the person who's sitting in the last row of the classroom can also read your slides. There are some rules of thumb. For example, you should not use any font size smaller than 18 points. Okay, and make sure that the font that you're choosing, it's easily readable. You do not want to choose a cursive font that people have a difficult time reading it as well. You also do not want to use a very, very large font size, right? Because then it limits your ability of including important stuff on your slide. Understandably, you do not want to include too small font size as well. Coloring is also important as well. You want to make sure that there is a high contrast between the text that you put on your slide and the background that you're using. Look at this slide that I have prepared over here. I have white background for the most part, and I have a dark text. So this is easy for my eyes and for your eyes to read whatever I have on this slide. If I have, let's say, a white background and a very light blue, it would be very difficult to read it, right? Also, think about the color combinations as well. If you have black background and yellow text, it would be difficult to read. I have another example for you to take a look at. Okay, so take a look at this slide, for example. First of all, there are many, many words and sentences in this slide. It is distracting. Then take a look at the font size. The font size for these are too small if you are sitting in the back of the room. It would be hard to read all of those. Also, take a look at the color palette. The color palette is red, blue, white, yellow. It's all over places. And dark blue and yellow, it's not the best color combination. Now let's talk about some best practices. So number one that I have here for you, use a consistent presentation design. You do not want to change the theme of your slides every slide. Make sure that you're using a consistent font size, a consistent font type, a consistent color throughout your slides. This makes the distraction less and less for people who are listening to your speech and looking at your slides. The other thing that I want to talk about, make sure that you have one topic per slide. You do not want to convey multiple topics, multiple subjects, and multiple ideas in one slide. One at a time. This keeps your audience focused on what you're talking about and what you're trying to tell them. And eventually avoid information overwhelm by using the rule of 3. All right. You do not want to overwhelm the audience as well and give them a lot of information in one slide. What is the rule of 3? I have it on the slide for you. Number 1, give a compelling structure to your presentation. Make sure that you know where to start, right, and where to end. It's like writing an article. You have an introduction, you have a methodology, you have results and discussion, you have a conclusion, and you have an end, right? This would be the same thing. Keep your slides simple. Do not put a lot of information on your slides. Remember, your slides are complements to what you are saying, right? You can have extra slides to go over if people have questions about, but do not put a lot of information in every single slide. And number 3 is keep your audience engaged. And you can keep your audience engaged using different methods. You can ask some simple questions or ask their opinions as you're talking about your slides. So on and so forth. Even sometimes eye contact and hand gesture can help you to keep your audience engaged. All right, next that I want to talk about are some of the stuff that you should avoid when you are giving a presentation. Animations and transitions are good if they're necessary. If they're not necessary, they can be annoying. Okay, let's say that you are giving a presentation about cars. What if I show you the photos about cars like this? So I'm talking about car. This is a cool car. There's another one with cool animation. Now look at this animation. It's just going around, and eventually this animation. These animations are unnecessary. They are the attention of your audience is not on what you are saying or what they're reading. It's on the animation, on how these photos are going into your slides, right? These are unnecessary animations that you don't need. So try to minimize the use of animations and transitions in your slide. The other thing that I want to talk about is make sure that you are adding stuff to your slides that supports the main point. If you're a student who is presenting their design, do not include something that is not related to the design or that presentation, right? That's, first of all, not professional. Also distracts the audience as well. So the main question that you need to ask yourself when it comes to contents that you want to put into your slide is, does this slide help support my main point or no? If yes, put it in the slide. If no, definitely do not put it in the slide that you're preparing. All right. And the last thing that I want to talk about is do not use your PowerPoint, your slides, as a teleprompter. If you're standing in front of a classroom and you are reading off of your slide, your audience is not going to be engaged with you after a couple of minutes because you are turning your head and reading off of your slides word by word. So they will be like, well, I can just read the words by myself, right? And they won't be engaged with your speech as well. Make sure that you know more, right? This is the art of preparing a good slide, that you just putting enough into the slides and you are talking what you know more about the subjects. Let's say your design or the paper that you have just finished. All right. And then some final tips that I think would be useful for everybody to know about presenting. Number one, change the tone of your voice when you are presenting. Nobody wants to hear a presentation when you are standing up there and you are just talking with some monotone and you're not changing the tone of your voice at all. This would be boring after 2 minutes, especially if you have a longer presentation. Let's say you have your senior design presentation that goes for maybe an hour, right? You want to change your tone frequently to make sure that people are engaged with your speech. Second one is think about what the people who are listening to your presentation might know and might not know. Are you presenting to a group of students who are from different majors and they don't know about engineering a lot? Then you need to tailor your slides in a way that they can understand and relate to what you are presenting to them as well. The third point that I want to talk about, and I told you a little bit about it, is be educated on more than just what you are sharing. What is on your slides is just to complement and support what you are saying. You should be able to talk about the subject, the topic that you're presenting, if people ask you questions. So make sure that you can anticipate what questions you might get, and you are educated on those topics as well. All right. The next thing is pace yourself and improvise. Pacing yourself is important. Oftentimes, students get nervous and start talking very, very fast. And it would be difficult to understand the technical content that you are presenting when you talk really fast. So make sure that you speak at a normal level. I know could be, you could get nervous. That's normal. But whenever you're nervous, one good solution for that is to take a deep breath and pause and then start talking about your slides. And also learn how to improvise. Projecting your slide is a technical thing to do, and sometimes the computer does not work. Sometimes there's something wrong with the mouse. Sometimes the clicker that you're using doesn't work. So make sure that you are comfortable improvising when these things happen. And it will take some time. You're not going to learn how to do this the first time that you're presenting. But if you know this in the back of your mind that these things can happen and it will happen for everybody, and I can handle it if that thing happens. Eye contact, I talked about eye contact and how important it is to look at people who you are talking. You do not need to look at every single person in the room. What seasoned presenters do when it comes to presentations, they look at different corners of the room and they find one face, maybe a familiar face, maybe not, and they go back to them. They take turn and they look at those faces around the room. And you'll learn how to do that as you present more and more. All right, make sure that your charts are professional. If you are providing any charts on your slides, make sure that the x-axis, the y-axis, the labels are all large, they're legible, and they are professional. And finally, make sure that you are checking the spelling and the grammar of whatever you have on your slides. That's also very important as well. All right. You are going to use a lot of photos. You're going to use a lot of documents, a lot of websites in your presentation as well. It is important for a professional presentation to cite your sources. For example, these are all the sources that I have used to create this presentation and to create this video for you. You can do the same thing. Make sure that you take a look at the rubric for your presentation. Sometimes there are specific style of citation and referencing that you want to use. You might use APA. Some of you engineers, you might use ASC style or other styles that are out there. I also highly recommend to take a look at all these sources that I have put over here. I'm going to copy and paste this in the video description for you. Take a look at them. There are a lot more information in these articles that I'm just telling you. All right. And the last part of this video, I am going to show you some PowerPoint hacks and PowerPoint tips and tricks. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is use of PowerPoint templates. You can download some pre-made templates online, or you can use some of PowerPoint's built-in templates. And I'm going to show you how, but let me talk about the Rehearse with Coach feature. So you see this one. My presentation right now is 15 minutes and 25 seconds. So I'm going to stop my presentation and show you what kind of report I get when I use this Rehearse and Coach feature of PowerPoint. So I'm going to right click and end the show. There we go. Now it's telling me different information. So summary, 15 minutes, this number of slides that I shared. This is interesting. It says to sound more polished and confident, try avoid using filler words. Pause or take a breath to relax. Some filler words to avoid are right? This is very important. And then repetitive language. It looks like I did a nice work. My slides were inclusive. And then over here, my pace also was good too. I was not too fast or I was not too slow. It was pretty good. And then my average pace over time, it shows actually how many words per minute I set, which is a great feature. And my pitch for the most was in the good range. There were some times that I was probably talking more monotone. And then originality, it looks like that I did a great job in the originality as well. So this is a great feature that you can use to rehearse again and again to make sure that you are practicing and practicing and practicing your presentation. All right, I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to talk about different features. First of all, let's start with using PowerPoint templates. So I'm going to start a new, fresh PowerPoint and continue from there. All right, so I'm going to right click on this PowerPoint over here and open a new PowerPoint. All right, these are the old PowerPoint slides that I have created, but I'm going to create a new one. Let's say that these are the themes and the templates that I'm talking about. Let's click on more themes over here, and then you can search, which is a great feature of it. Let's say that we are going to talk about design. So I'm going to quickly write design over here, and also you can select the theme over here as well, and then search. When you do that, it will show you a lot of templates that are ready for you just to tweak a little bit and put your stuff, your pictures, your words and bullet points over here. I'm going to click on this one just as an example. So if you double click on that, then it will download the template and gives you a ready presentation that you just need to modify a little bit to your style and do it. So let's say that you are talking about cars and you want to talk about how to make your own car, for example, right? And then you will write your name over here, so on and so forth. There are some nice graphics. There are some tables that you can populate, or you can just simply click or press delete and delete that. The good thing about it is when you go under Home tab, and you can even insert a new slide over here, and this new slide could be a title slide, title and content, comparison, or it could be anything out of that you can add over here and add your text over here. This is a great feature that you have. So try to use it pre-made theme if you want to, although you can add a blank slide as well. It doesn't have to be formatted already. It could be just a blank slide that you want to populate. All right, so this using a template, downloading it online, or using a PowerPoint template is a great hack that you can use. Going back to my slide, I talked about Rehearse with Coach. Now I'm going to talk about inserting stock images and videos. Sometimes you're looking for an image to insert to your slide. You can see in my slide, I have a PowerPoint logo in my slide. So I'm going to delete that and show you how you can do this. One of the capabilities of PowerPoint is that you can insert stock photos or images into this, and you can also insert images from web as well. I'm going to show you. So if you go under Insert and then extend the picture over here, one option is using a stock image. So if you click on a stock image, then you can search for any type of image that you are looking for. Let's say that I'm looking for, because the topic of my presentation is about presentations and giving them, I'm going to search presentation. All right, and you can see that then some photos related to presentation will pop up. I'm going to select this one and then add inserts. So now this is inserted over here. You can make it smaller, make it bigger, and put it wherever you want to. If you don't like the layout, the design of your slide right now, that's okay, because you can redesign how this slide looks like. How to do that? If you go under Design, and then you can change the design of your slide, the design of how it looks like, by choosing a template. All right, you can do the same thing with videos as well. So if you want to add a video, this is the video, and you want to add a stock video. Let's say you are looking for water. I'm going to search water, and then I'm going to add this video and insert it into my, there we go. And this is a video of water that is already inserted into your PowerPoint, and you can size it and put it wherever you want to. All right, so this is a great feature as well that you can use in your presentations. The other thing that I want to talk about, I'm going to delete this for now, is talking about shapes, icons, smart art, and equations. All right, under design, you have the ability to create the shapes that you want to. Let's say that you want to create an arrow that connects things together. So I'm going to click on this arrow that connects this photo specifically to stock images, for example. Okay, I put the arrow over here, and then you can change the shape, you can change the color of the arrow as you want to. There are many options available for you. You can even write some text in it. Essentially, do whatever you want to do with this arrow. So it's under Insert, and then you can create any of these shapes that you want to. You can create a circle, you can create whatever you want to. All right, next, after shapes, icons. Icons are really interesting as well. They give your slides, make your slides more visually appealing. So under Insert, under icons, let's say that I'm looking for, I don't know, trees, for example. And you will see some icons related to trees. So I'm going to select a couple of them, for example. Why not? This one and this one. And I'm going to insert, and they will be right over here. So then I can move them wherever I need them in this slide. All right. And eventually, smart art. Smart art is also very interesting under Insert and Smart art, depending on what you want to say. So remember that presentation is a process, right? So if you want to talk about that process, you can click on that and select how you want to depict that process visually, right? If you want to say something plus something equals this as an equation, or you want to show a process like this. I'm going to click on that. All right, and then you can move this around wherever you want to in the slide and write down text to show it a little bit better. So first one would be, let's say, outline. You want to outline your presentation. Then you want to design. And then eventually you want to practice. So this gives you a very interesting visual way of talking about processes, right? And then you can change the color palette to whatever you want to. Let's say I want to have the color palette like this. It makes it more beautiful. And eventually equations is very important for you. If you are using equations in your slide, again, go under insert and insert an equation. This is the equation box. Let's say that we want to write this equation. So y is equal to 2x plus 5 x to the power 2. So I'm going to click on here, add that. This would be x to the power 2. And this would be a very nice equation that I have right over here. Obviously, you can change the size of this. You can change the color of it, so on and so forth. All right. I hope that all these PowerPoint tips and tricks are useful to you if you are new to Microsoft PowerPoint. I promise if you spend a little bit of time on this, you're going to learn it, and you are going to see that there is a lot that you can do to make your slides more interactive and to make your slides better and better. And eventually at your end slide could be a thank you slide, or to offer everybody, your audience, people who are sitting there and listening to you, if they have any questions, you can ask that, you can answer their questions as well. Similarly, I'm going to offer you, if you have any questions for me, if you have any ideas of what kind of videos you want to see in this channel, in the comment section, let me know what you want to see, and I will make those videos for you. All right, peace.